Hello, Bean. Bean, will you do the intro? Will you say welcome to the Unhinged Library?
Welcome, everyone.
Hello.
I'm Alicia,
I am Hallie.
and welcome back to the Unhinged Library.
And this is Jelly Bean.
Yes, Jelly Bean. Say hi.
She gives you all floppies.
Flappy flappies. If you watch us on YouTube,
Hey,
it's okay.
bite me, not our guest.
You can bite me. You don't bite too hard. Just don't bite too hard. So how have you been, Hallie?
I have been wonderful. How are you?
Thriving.
Yeah.
Thriving on caffeine.
Oh, yeah.
Thriving on caffeine, especially the last couple weeks since my grandma's up, trying to be ready for her and spend time with her. So it's just been a lot of caffeine and no sleep.
Fair.
So what's your current reads right now?
My current read right now is still the Cinnamon Bun Bookshop, or Cinnamon Roll Bookshop, Cinnamon Bun Bookshop.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, because I read the Pumpkin Spice, actually, this past week.
Oh, I loved that one, too. But yeah, no, so I'm still on that, because I have just been, like, kind of busy, and, like, still reading, like, a little bit every day, but not as much as I'd like to, and that happens, so not too bad.
Are you doing your, like, 54 pages a day?
I try to, but that's the problem, is I haven't been able to sit down and do that.
Yeah.
Whether it be just, like, I've been busy, I had a hair appointment last night, and
That's
that takes
good.
forever. Imagine those curls getting tamed down to this.
And she has a lot of hair,
It's
unlike me that's
ridiculous.
got, like, a little rod.
I'd give you some if I could.
I would take some gladly. I literally...
won the technology.
Back in, like, middle school when everyone was getting extensions because they wanted longer hair, I got it because I wanted thicker hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were a decent investment.
That's a good reason to do it.
It was nice. I mean, like, when I would do, because I was in cheerleading too, so I'd have a little bit more to work with when I did it. So definitely recommend it if you have however much money. They were like $80 then, so they weren't cheap then.
I mean, I may just start, like, really growing my hair out and leaning into the Utah girly thing, because, like, that's the other thing that got me this week, was I did binge Secret Life of Mormon Wives.
Yep.
And you know my fascination with the Mormons anyway. But
so this isn't like a promo account, but, like, didn't you get that from TikTok? Because that's, like, super cute.
I got this sweatshirt from TikTok shop. Because I got impulse buy ads, and I have no self-control.
I don't have self-control. My grandma was looking at my bookshelf this week, and she goes, I like books. I just don't spend a lot of money on them. I said,
Wish.
I went shopping last week. I went Chelsea, and I almost grabbed 3 books. And she's like, how did you almost grab 3? I said, well, I put one back, so I only bought 2. Because I did actually buy Daydream while I was at the store. So I have Daydream in heart.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping I was going to win the Goodreads giveaway.
Same.
I
want the third Gilmore Girl one, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I want them in actual physical copy, because I bought them for my actual phone, like iBooks, because they were only like $3, so they were pretty cheap. Do you like the microphone, Beanie?
Hey, you are not behaving, so you are going to be swaddled by me.
She's very feisty today. Very feisty. So the book we're covering today is A Fate Inked in Blood.
Yes. I will grab it in a moment. I have to punish my cat.
Punishing the Bean for being too... She's very rambunctious.
A Fate Inked in Blood.
Now, I'm going to be honest. I bought this book because of those sprayed edges. It was such a pretty book.
Gorgeous. I'll try to get this way. Like, just, they're blue, they're mirrored, they're sparkly. This book is gorgeous in general. The actual physical book itself.
It's pretty.
I love it. It's got, like, that cool etching on it. The Nordic knots and a rune in the middle. I love it.
So yeah, I actually read this book a couple months ago.
Same.
But I was almost going to reread it for this, but I did not, just because I have other books I'm trying to read.
So we're going off vibes today, people.
Yeah, vibes. Probably not a lot of facts, but vibes. Because I think I know I read it physically, and then I think I listened to the audiobook of this too.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't say anyone's name, and someone was lecturing me how to say people's names.
Well, no, so you even, like, you picked this up because it was pretty, and I was standing next to you, and I'm like, that's a really good book.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, you actually read it. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. We were, like, shopping for book club. It was, like, one of the days we just went to, like, Barnes & Noble after we met up for book club, and I was like, ooh, it's pretty.
Yeah. Wasn't this, like, one of the first 5-star books of the year for you, too?
Yep, it's actually one of my first. I think it was my first one, and then the other, When the Moon Hatched, was my other 5-star.
I give really good book recs.
Yeah, really good book recs. How did I start reading Throne of Glass? Book recs! Throne of Glass is the ultimate series, but that is definitely not today's discussion. So I like this book. This was, like, a little bit of a different fantasy because it had, like, Nordic elements to it versus, like, your regular high fantasy, like Greek mythology. Not that I don't love that type of mythology. I like the different mythology in this.
Yes. I liked the Norse representation. I love Norse mythology, so, like, it was right up my alley. I love the show Vikings, and this was like reading Vikings, but a little spicier, and I loved it.
I didn't watch that show yet either.
It's
I know you told me to watch it after reading this.
It's a
You're like,
good show.
you'll like Vikings. So I was like, yeah, I will maybe. So yeah, let's see how much, like, we truly remember about this book.
Well,
so this follows Freya. Right?
Yes. And I know it starts off with her husband Vargi. We don't love Vargi.
No. Not at all.
He's fat and old and an asshole, but he is a demigod, and he can control the sea and the fish, but he does it in very reckless ways, where he's just kind of wasteful and, like, swoops a ton of fish up out of the water onto the bank and just, like, lets them rot, which is shitty.
Yep.
Because, like, the people in your village do actually need those fish, and you just depleted them and whatever. But he doesn't last long.
Not long. He gets hit.
He gets axed
in the head by his wife. Go her for sure.
But there's also a mysterious man that comes out of the sea. Mr. Bjorn. We love Bjorn.
As soon as I met him, glistening with water on him.
We are afraid to love Bjorn because of the curse of being the first love interest.
Don't be an Aaron. Don't be a Tamlin.
Don't be a Dane.
Yeah, always be number 2. Was Dane even really though number 1?
Yeah, because she was in love with him when they were kids.
Oh, yeah, I guess. I kind of skipped over that. Yeah, they were. But that's like every kids are always in love with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we meet Bjorn.
We do. We meet Bjorn. And Bjorn is also involved when she kills Vargi. Because basically, like, Vargi's like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, just drag my wife to, like, the lord's. It's basically like a lord situation there, and Bjorn's dad is king, or like one of the lords who's like a small-time king but wants to unite. Again, all Vikings at this point wanted to unite Norway. So he wanted to unite. It was Norway, I believe. Yeah,
it was Norway.
But she ends up also being a demigod that nobody knew about, which is why she was getting turned in.
Besides her husband, he knew about it.
Yeah,
because that's why he wanted
and her
to turn
brother,
her in. And her brother, I don't like
her brother's married in love with her best friend. Yeah, the brother and the best friend are trash. I'm not gonna like lie to you. Yeah, I have a lot of rage towards them.
Yeah, I don't like them at all.
I have nothing nice to say about
them.
Which is awesome writing.
Yeah.
That is great writing.
Go Danielle or Danielle? I think it's Danielle.
I don't know how to say words.
Danielle, however you pronounce your name properly, we like your writing.
Miss Jensen, I like you.
Mm-hmm.
You're very nice. You've done nice things for my brain.
Yes, enjoyable things.
Yes.
So after she her husband, then she gets stuck going with Bjorn.
Yes.
Even though she doesn't want to.
Because she's also now being forced to become the second wife of Snorri. Snorri is Bjorn's father, and the Lord Viking guy who also has a wife, first wife, Yolva. Yolva.
I can't say her name for the longest time.
Yeah. Yolva. Yolva kind of comes off as a bitch at first.
Kind of. I definitely didn't like Yalva at first.
Yeah.
Did not. I understand her character a little bit further on in the story because, like, she knows that they have to pair together, her husband and Freya, for the powers for their realm and for their area.
And they really throw those red herrings at us with her, like, really making us think, like, she's the one fucking the shit.
For real. Like, a lot of different things, like, when they were in the camp, you thought that was her kind of doing it. And so then Freya is trying to expose Yolva for everything that she's doing because she thinks she's the one that's doing everything to her.
Yeah.
Snorri's just oblivious, but doesn't want to touch Freya. He wants to be in writing married to her, but nothing else.
Which also I kind of respect.
Yeah.
Like, he could have been gross and been like, oh yeah, this, like, 20-year-old.
Let's consummate our marriage.
But no, he wants to be loyal to Yolva. They have another son, so they have Bjorn. Bjorn has a half-brother, Leif.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yes, Snorri's first, or not, yeah, it's not his first wife, because was he married to Bjorn's mother?
No, I don't think he was married to Bjorn's mother.
So yeah, Yolva is the first wife, but not the first
love.
Not even first love, not the first baby mama, let's go, because Snorri's kind of messy.
Yeah, Snorri is messy.
He's a little messy.
I didn't really like him either.
I don't love Snorri.
I don't hate him, but I don't like him.
He's almost very Machiavellian, where as long as he can unite Norway, that's all he cares about.
Yep.
But, so, like, she's taken to this village, they're married, and then on this fanciful night of their wedding,
she's pushed down a hatch.
There's that part, and then there's the burning Viking ship that she sets on fire, even though Bjorn's like, yo, don't do this. It's dumb. But no, she sets a ship on fire, because it was an enemy ship, and she thought they were invading. Well, repercussions happen, and they do actually invade this village, and she almost gets everybody killed. A lot of people were hurt in that invasion. Well, because of that, now Snorri is like, you need to find out your destiny. We have to go see the fates, and you have to take this super dangerous path up these mountains. Well, we all go a different way. You have to take this way. And just so happens Bjorn is the one assigned to go with her, because she needs protection, and it's gotta be Bjorn.
And there's already tension kind of building between the scenes, because when she first sees him, she thinks he's gorgeous and wants to jump his bones. But then after she murks her husband and actually has to spend more time with Bjorn, she hates his guts.
Yeah.
So she really doesn't want to go up into the mountains onto this travels with him.
And there's also a third person on this journey, a very creepy songstress.
Yeah.
She's just creepy.
Creepy.
And, like, apparently her songs have, like, because she's also a demigod of Bragi, her songs put people into the situation she's singing about. So she sets the scene, she starts singing, and they literally start seeing what has actually happened in this tale. Terrifying.
And they want to follow Freya because they want her to sing that song to everyone in the realm, so that way they start following Freya and kind of get behind the movement for it. So that's kind of why the singer
following Snorri, but using Freya's glory to do so. Like, look at the woman behind the man type thing.
Like, we say her name because she does cool things, but we really want you to know Snorri.
Yeah. So like, they're going up this mountain, and there's these zombie creatures from hell, but there are these zombie creatures.
Scared. I was scared of those.
That start attacking. And, like, yeah, that part was intense. Like, that was a very well-written scene in the book. Like, that was...
Because you hear them kind of coming, like, scraping the bones, kind of coming together, coming through the darkness, because they're in a cave at this point, too. They can't see anything, and they're scared. And, I don't know, is this the song, the girl, she's still with them?
She disappears. Yeah, like, they have her leave so that she doesn't actually have to deal with it. So, like, she was supposed to go with them. Bjorn's like, hey, this is your chance to turn around and go a different way. Because I can't protect you both. And, like, you're probably gonna die if we encounter anything. Just putting it out there.
And what wasn't there like some hidden treasure or something like that in the cave?
Yes.
That was like the myth of what those ghosts were supposed to be protecting.
Yes, it was like some explorer had found treasure and left it there. You know, Viking, because Viking is a job to them. So he did plunder and pillage a little bit and left something in the cave. They got attacked and they got out of it. They got out of it. Kind of weird how they got out of it. They got out of it.
Definitely weird how they got out of it. I didn't expect that at all.
No, they got out of it. And they ended up in this like big village. It's like a monastery. There are monks, and they have to turn over all their weapons, and then they're allowed in. And it also nullifies their magics. So they're allowed in, and in good old Norse, culture, they're given mushroom tea, and they're all fucking tripping balls most of the time.
Is that a normal thing?
Oh yeah, no, that's actually a cultural thing. They
because
I mean, mushrooms.
This was like kind of my like first getting involved into that type.
Yeah, no, like
of mythology.
It is actually very well documented. The Norse did use mushrooms. They would use them before battles. Some say that's like part of the berserkers, where they would do mushrooms before fights and shit, and just be tripping. And so like it's historically accurate. They did do mushrooms.
I thought she did a lot of good like historically research on it.
I loved it. I loved that it wasn't just like, oh ha ha Vikings, but they're all like super
hot. And because I feel like that's always your thing too. It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a little bit of mythology and then not really any follow through with it. But I feel like a lot of different aspects of the story had the mythology.
Yes.
So then they go up to the temple, and Snorri shows up, right?
Yep, Snorri's there. Ylva's there.
Ylva.
I don't think Leif is not there. Leif was left behind to watch their village. There's some other characters we get introduced to there. Names escape me.
Same.
But I loved it. I remember one was like a badass, like woman leader warrior type. I loved her. I thought she was great. I wish I remembered her name. This has just been a while since either of us read this book. So, forgive me. I'm pretty sure you've been here enough to know I don't remember names.
We have a concept. You understand the concept that we're going off of.
Yeah, but like, so she also very much so befriends Freya, and Freya really likes her and invites her to train with her and the other female warriors, because otherwise she's only been really training alone or with Bjorn, and that's not going great. Bjorn's kind of a dick.
Yeah, they're still not getting along at this point.
Yeah.
And this was dual point of view, wasn't it? Or no?
Not until like later.
Later on, because it is getting, I don't think we're quite at Bjorn's part yet, but you're going to start kind of getting Bjorn's point of view with it.
Yeah.
She's drinking dirty soda right now. I have one too, but.
After they leave there, that's when she thinks Ylva is like doing something shady. She claims she sees Ylva talking to like an enemy tribe leader guy in the woods. She can't be sure if she did, but she sees that conversation happen, and then they get the bad news that there was an attack on their village, and it killed most of
the village
because they left women and children behind. It was mostly the men and the warriors who were with them. So,
and wasn't that a decision Snorri made too?
Yes, it's like a show of force.
So then they go back to the village.
They do. They rush back to like try to save who they can. It doesn't look good, and Freya deals with a lot of guilt over it, because they were only actually attacked because of her burning down the ship in the first place.
Yep. Then doesn't she have some like show of power? That's when she like, you first start to see a little bit of her power start to arise.
Yeah, she starts to use it a little more
when they're like trying to force down the wall or something like that, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Because like it was the strength, because she was still with the trainer, the warrior that's training her.
And as far as we know, she is only like a demigod in the sense of like her mother was a minor goddess, like a battle goddess, yes, but minor goddess. We're not talking like, you know, Thor, Freya, Frigg. We're talking like a lesser known player here.
Because that's the other thing, too, is you have to say the name of the god
You
to
have
become
to
into the
invoke
power.
god, yeah.
And her parents never wanted her to say the name of the god that actually gave her the power.
Yes.
I can't think of what the god's name is. Bad with names.
It's a thing. I'm sorry.
I understand the book. I just can't always... There's too many names.
It was a really good book. Please don't let us discourage you.
Yeah,
if you do know the names, please comment them.
Yes, comment below.
It would be nice. It would be nice to know.
Not that we can't flip through this book behind us, but we might as well just kind of...
I'm not going to find the
keep
name.
the pages turning for things, whatnot.
So that happens, and like, now they're going to go attack this guy. They're full on battle. It's happening. Or so they think.
Yeah, so they think. That doesn't happen.
It starts to happen.
They
start the journey there. And then
Freya gets called, and Bjorn, they have to go somewhere else.
They go back to her home village to see her mother.
Mm-hmm.
Because supposedly, so her brother shows up to this new village she's
Trash
at.
brother. And his wife. Let's not forget his.
Oh, yeah, he married the best friend. And they're like, you have to go back and save Mom. Something bad's happening. Blah, 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 blah. And she's like, why'd you guys leave Mom then? But also, I'm not questioning it. Because she doesn't question her brother.
Never. Or her best friend.
And, like, side tangent. They fucking suck. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the most I remember of this book is the rage I feel at her brother and the best friend for how they treat her. Because they treat her like shit, and it's like, you deserve nothing. Everything, her brother even being in the army, being a warrior,
and that's all she wants to.
Yep. Snorri was gonna kill him.
That's the only reason he was allowed, because remember, if she didn't go with Snorri in the beginning of the book, when she killed her husband... then they were going to marry. They're going to marry her best friend off to someone else.
To the husband before she killed him.
Before she killed him. And then her brother was going to kick out.
Yeah.
And then didn't her brother receive like an injury or something
That's why they were going to kick him out, because he broke his leg or something stupid.
Yeah. So then he comes back to be like, go help Mom. I am trash. So she goes and helps Mom. And meets Mom.
But I'm going to go live in your fancy big war tent and like just be a fucking leech to society. Because my leg's still broken and I can't do anything. But I'm a warrior. Brother. I hate her brother.
I think I hate her brother most out of this, which is sad because, like, that's definitely not common enemy number one in this. I mean, for us it is. But, like, in the big story plotline.
Oh, yeah. His brother is very much a small fish in the storyline of everything, but I hate him.
But to us, it's kind of like all the fish on the side of the water. That just kind of got, like, raced up there. But, yeah. So she goes back to her mom to try to figure out what goddess that she fully has her powers from.
Because she's suspecting what's going on now.
She's starting to. And Bjorn goes with her on this.
And her mother was honestly a bitch, too.
Yeah. When her mom, like, almost got... I didn't care.
No.
Didn't care.
Her family's terrible to her,
Trash.
but you also do find out why, because she gets this big, terrible backstory of, like, the only reason she exists and is a demigod child is because her parents made a deal with a god to save her brother, because he was sick.
She literally
only exists because her parents cared more about the brother.
So then her mom, people show up to attack her mom's cottage.
Yeah, they get ambushed. And, like, the thing is, the mom does say it was a goddess. They had a cloak on. They were hidden the entire time, so they're not exactly sure who Freya's true mother is.
Mm-hmm. And, like, that whole goddess situation's so uncomfy. Like, I'm gonna sit in the room.
Yeah. I read it more as, like, a three-way, which is still weird.
I know. I read it, like, kind of like a three-way, but also, like, I'm eating popcorn and enjoying the show a little bit at the same time.
It's unclear about...
But it's okay. I don't need any more clarification.
How it worked.
What happened in that room.
I read it more that the goddess was the one watching.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The goddess watched. She's like, get it on or I'm going to kill your kid. Because didn't she threaten the brother too at the time?
Yeah, she's like, I could just let him die. I could make it quicker.
And then her parents are like, okay.
I mean, my opinion now, not that I think kids should die, but like, I don't like the brother.
He's trash anyways. He doesn't grow up
hasn't
pretty
done
good.
anything with the life.
Maybe in the next book, maybe he will. Her mom kind of protects her though a little bit during this ambush. Not completely, but I give her like 0.25 stars.
And Bjorn is waiting to. He's there.
Yeah.
Bjorn is Bjorning. Well, they run off, and they run past this weird tree. Very peculiar tree.
Very peculiar tree.
It's a standout tree. You think in all of these, I believe it's a birch tree.
Mm-hmm.
I remember trees. I don't remember names.
So they find the birch tree.
And it had some runes carved into it.
And I think this is where we're more starting to really see the runes come into the book. We've seen maybe a
Yalva uses runes in her magic. Because Yalva is a witch.
Mm-hmm.
She does runic magic. That's her specialty. And we were led to believe that she was carving runes into the tree at the monastery camp. So now we're seeing these. All right, so rune magic.
Yep. Runes. And then isn't we seen someone up by the runes? Because we thought like someone almost like teleported or something.
It's a woman.
Runes.
We see a woman there. And again, the suspicion's kind of on Yalva.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit on the songstress.
A little bit on the songstress.
She just pops in and out, and it's kind of weird.
I'm also going to be honest, at this time, too, I kind of was thinking about the girl that we can't remember her name, but from...
The woman warrior?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking of her, too, because I thought she was, like, from another, like, kingdom, in the sense.
Yes,
like,
but she was willing to swear...
She was, but...
Fealty to Snorri.
But for me, I was kind of having her, at this point in time when I was reading, I was kind of thinking of her too. I was like, I don't know, something feels like she wasn't brought up just to never talk about her again.
Yeah. Well, she was talked about, like she was training Freya still. But yeah, so they see these weird runes, and like she kind of takes note. She's like, hey, Bjorn, this is weird, right? And then they have a moment up on the mountain.
Good moment for them.
Yep, they have a good moment.
And their relationship is starting to progress a little bit more. And not as much as, like, I wouldn't consider them enemies to lovers, but definitely rivals for a little bit.
Yeah,
sense,
and I do appreciate that she does have the little bit of a guilt of, like, I'm technically his stepmom. This is weird.
Yes.
Like, I like that you acknowledge that. Thank you.
At least you're the same age. It's not, like, uncomfy stepmom, but yes, he still acknowledges,
it's weird.
And he's still trying to be respectful of, like, even though he knows that Snorri doesn't really want to be with Freya, of, like, respecting that part of the marriage for it.
Well, it's not even that. He also just knows his father is very insecure and, like, would take Bjorn, for lack of better words, betting Freya as a slight. Because Bjorn has a very strained relationship with Snorri also, because we found out more about Bjorn's past with this conversation, where Bjorn was held captive by this rival lord for most of his life. He only, like, recently came back to Snorri. Basically, like, Bjorn's mother and him, we are led to believe Bjorn's mother died protecting Bjorn in this invasion, and they took Bjorn, like, as a prize and raised him, which...
As a kid, this all happened, too.
And I believe it was, like, off the coast of Norway, so maybe Sweden, maybe Finland.
Because isn't that the guy... That was the one that was at the temple.
He's the main bad
guy that we're thinking of right now.
But he was off the coast of Norway, so like maybe one of the islands, maybe Finland, maybe Sweden. I don't exactly know what kingdom he would have been from. But a lot of people in the village that Snorri's in also don't want to look at Bjorn as an heir because they feel like he's not actually one of them. He was raised with very different customs in this very different place, and they feel that his younger brother Leif should be the rightful heir, and they don't like Snorri having his eldest son there, because like line of succession would go to Bjorn.
And Yalva doesn't like him at all, so that doesn't help either with the perception, because the people like Yalva.
Because Yalva also suspects him of being a spy.
Yep.
Because he can't, like, it's weird that he just was given back.
So, like, Yalva has a lot of skepticism towards everyone, obviously, besides Snorri and her son. And then Freya and them have the skepticism about her. Bjorn, you're starting to learn too about his axe and his powers, because it seems like he has more actual powers than his father does, too.
Yeah, he's a fire wielder.
Which is very rare, too, it seems like, into their realm.
Yes, his god, like, literal god father, does not tend... I mean, yes, there are other fire wielders we learn, but they're kind of all, like, cast as the bad guy.
Yes.
Very easily. So it's kind of weird that Bjorn's chill.
I hope. Yeah. I like Bjorn.
But so, like, they get back to the village after this little excursion and find out, like, oh, they're actually moving for this war. Like, Snorri declared war on this other guy. They're moving out. And they're getting ready for this battle. And, like, long, hard journey. It's in the snow. Freya's very ill-equipped, does not have the equipment. And they make a point to make her walk with the forces. They do not want to give her a horse. And again, like, her shoes are falling apart. She is not equipped for this trek at all. And
physically, like, mentally, nothing. She's not ready.
No, and like Bjorn even tries to like speak up and be like, "What are like her training does not make her ready for that. She can't carry the shield. All like you want her to be a shield maiden. She's not one yet." But Bjorn does help her. He helps find her boots, as does the
trainer, the shield maiden.
Yeah, the other shield maidens like definitely rally around her and help her.
Because that's who she was training with.
Yeah.
That was the warrior that she's been training with. Because that was when she came into her powers, when she had the shield above her, and somehow it like ricocheted.
Bodil is the other shield maiden.
Yep. I think the other part is like these names are a little bit different. Like there are fantasy names, but they're also like Nordic names, so like sometimes a little bit harder.
Unless you read like Norse mythology or watch like Nordic stuff, it's very hard to learn the names. I like Norse mythology, and like half the reason I know most of these names, there's just like shows I've watched and things like that. But yeah, no, Bodil is like a badass. I love her. But they're on this trek, and like they're all talking. Like you're getting to see like a lot of very touching moments between Bodil and Freya, between Bjorn and Freya. Like, you're learning a lot. And almost with Ylva, too.
A little bit. She's getting a little bit better. You're kind of understanding her character more, that she's not as vindictive. Like, she's not really behind the ruins. She wants her husband to be successful. She doesn't really like Freya, not because she feels threatened by her, but by how the people feel about Freya. And, like, what she can mean for their kingdom.
She definitely represents her people. Like, and it's not even just about her love for Snorri. She wants Snorri to succeed, if nothing else, because if Snorri doesn't, that leaves her son at risk. She wants Snorri to succeed so Leif can succeed, and not to put Leif in a situation where his father is killed and now he has to do more war to avenge his father, because that's what would happen, and she does not want her son to die in a war.
But you really don't see much of Leif in this book.
No, but it's also because he's very young.
Yep. Like, so you hear about Leif, but you don't really get to see him and understand his character.
If I had to guess, I would say Leif's maybe 15.
Yep, I guess 15, 16.
Yeah. So he's still very young, like he's just learning. He knows how to fight, but he's just, like, coming into manhood. He is not ready for these responsibilities yet. He seems to have an okay relationship with Bjorn.
Yep.
I'll give it that. Like, they don't seem hostile towards each other.
Yeah, it's not brother against brother.
And, like, he seemed, like, genuinely happy when he's around Bjorn. Like, he wants to talk to his big brother. He wants to find out the battle stories. He wants to learn from him. So, like, it's nice that you don't have the animosity there either. But they're going to this battle. They get to the battle. They're camped out. And they're getting ready to go into this battle. They're getting their lines set up. And they're charging this opposite wall. And they know that this opposite Jarl is the Lord guy. Jarl is a weird word for me to say. Like, it makes me want... it feels weird in my throat.
A little tickly.
It's weird.
A little tingly.
I'm sorry, I'm having sensory issues over a word. um, but yeah, no. So like, they know he does have his own demigod like magic users, and his are very dangerous because they are children of Thor. They are thunder wielders. And so, as they're doing this charge, they are being attacked with thunder and
Thunder and lightning.
lightning. Well, one of they're in like phalanx positioning. They have their lines.
Yep, going up towards the line.
One of their lines gets hit, and it is almost a direct hit to Bodil.
Yep.
And Bodil falls, as do most of her Valkyries. It was their section that got hit. And Freya wants to stay with her, does not want to leave her to die alone. And Bjorn has to pull her away because they're going to do a second strike. And like, as much as Freya has been, her power because of the minor goddess she is a child of is basically like a bubble of protection around her in battle. She can extend that out. She could not cover the entire army. She could only cover a select. She's not strong enough to cover everything. So even with her trying to shield, she is basically spent physically from already having shield what she did. And she would not survive if a direct hit comes for her. So Bjorn pulls her away, and they're going into this battle, and she's filled with rage at this point. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Because she's upset about already going to battle. She feels guilty about it. She's upset about Bodil, and she's very confused about everything else kind of going on.
Yeah.
And this is because she did try. Bjorn forced her away, so then they get in.
Technically, they win.
Mm-hmm.
Because he becomes King Snorri at that point. So Snorri is confronting this other Jarl, and like very personally. It's not just about the attack. It's you killed Saga, who is Bjorn's mother, and stole Bjorn from him, and you need to die. You are evil. You are bad. And this other Jarl is Jarl Harald is basically like, it doesn't change anything. Like, you want to use Freya to attack Norway, and he's not gonna give Norway up. So that's that. So I don't think they kill Harald yet.
Nope, they don't.
No.
I know that.
So, but basically, like, Freya, he overhears this argument between the two men, and dips. She's like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be a pawn. I'm not doing this right now. We've just done this battle. Everything is insane, and I can't do it right now. So she takes off, and she goes up to those cliffs that she was at with Bjorn again. And Bjorn talks her down a little bit, I think. Am I going right?
Yeah, because they're back into the cave.
Yeah.
Spicy in the cave.
So she admits that she loves him and that they want to like be together.
The whole water scene happens, and then after that, when they're walking out of the cave,
they run into Harald.
Yep, the one that Bjorn was staying with as a kid.
Yes, the other Jarl.
And he kind of considers him almost like a father figure too, because even though he was held captive, he wasn't treated always like a prisoner. He was actually treated like a citizen there.
And that's the thing, is you find out, at least from Freya's perspective, that Bjorn lured her there to be kidnapped by the other Jarl and his magic users. So she curses them all that they're never going to get to Valhalla, and she invokes a certain goddess's name in doing so. She invokes Hel. And when she does that, all hell breaks loose. Like, literally breaks through the earth.
Because again, once they say the god's name, that enables the god's power to be able to come to light. So if she wouldn't have said Hel's name, probably wouldn't have happened.
So that it leaves off there as we find out, yes, she is a demigod in like an after fact. The goddess who came to her mother to save her brother was hell, or Hela, depending on what side of the mythology you're using. I believe here it's just hell.
Mm-hmm.
It was hell. So truly, she is a demigod of hell. The way she has this minor goddess's power is when her mother was pregnant and finally figured out, put two and two together, what goddess her daughter is
Made from
the daughter of, she made another deal that this minor goddess protect her and protect them, because having a daughter of hell is a huge risk to not only the child but everybody around the child. And it just leaves off with her being taken captive.
Her hating Bjorn now after she just confessed that she loves him.
Because Bjorn is at least on the side of Harald, which we don't know more. I don't want to believe Bjorn's evil.
I don't want to believe Bjorn's evil, but I kind of don't believe the Jarl is.
I think the Jarl is.
Ylva might be right that he was a spy. I think they kind of knew something was big. There's not really like prophecies too much into this.
There are a few,
but I feel like there was a prophecy about Freya that the Jarl heard.
Freya will take Norway. She will eventually be the leader of Norway in some shape or form. She will win the war of Norway. What side? We don't know.
Yep.
We also don't know all of Snorri's motivations, and Ylva doesn't either. That's the thing, is he does keep a lot even from his wife. I wouldn't hate finding out Snorri's the evil one, and that like they're on the good side.
Even Ylva, I kind of don't think she's as evil as we might thought at first.
I want them to be on the good side, but also the next cover is mostly red. Red is an ominous color in these books. Like, her eyes are literally red in the next cover.
Mm-hmm. The whole spine, everything is red. I definitely feel like we're going to go to hell or something, possibly into that next realm for it.
I don't know if they'll do realm jumping. They could. I feel like we'll definitely see more of the zombies. I wonder if we'll see Freya able to control and call an army of the dead herself.
I feel like she's gonna use some rune magic possibly to do stuff too. Like, I'm picturing runes.
She would have to learn the rune magic, which would mean somebody has to teach her the rune magic, which maybe is how they bring Ylva back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there's going to be a battle between Snorri and Harald again. Obviously, there's going to be tension with Bjorn. I kind of got the feeling too that that's why. Because she didn't actually get hurt in that zombie attack.
No.
They were very attracted. They were coming to her, but they were going after Bjorn. They were not going after her, and that's where I'm thinking, like, she will be able to control an army of the dead.
It gives me, like, the Nesta vibes, like, when she puts on the mask, that she can kind of do that.
Yes. And, like, I mean, I think it's so cool. I love the mythology elements in this book. I'm going to reread this book before the next one comes out.
For sure.
The next one doesn't come out till next year, right?
No, and it's actually one of the books I will pre-order, probably. Even though, like, I don't really like pre-orders because they kind of scar me. But I'm probably going to physically pre-order it and then maybe still digitally get it, too.
Yeah. I want, like, a pretty version. That's why I may pre-order it.
Yeah, that's kind of why.
I may try to go through the author's actual link and see, like, what their link does.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like I'm going to start doing that more. I'm going to buy directly from authors. Barnes & Noble is great, but sometimes the quality of the book is not great.
Yep.
And that's not their fault. Like, damage happens. People suck. But
shipping happens. Like, it's whatever. But at the same time, like,
I'm going to pay how much for a book at this point? Like, this book was $30.
Yep.
That's more than I make in an hour.
That's pretty.
I have to work like an hour and 10 minutes to have this book.
That's not even including when you get taxes taken out.
Yeah, we live in a really bad state for taxes.
Yeah, for anyone that doesn't live in New York State, you're lucky. Your taxes are better. We get taxed on everything. You get taxed when you get your money. You get taxed to use your money. You get taxed when you retire.
You get taxed when you pay your fucking taxes.
Someone recently asked me if I had one superpower, what could it be? I said, oh, it's like forever or one day. They're like, one day. I said, you don't have to pay taxes on anything. Whatever you make that day is just your money straight up. And then whatever you purchase.
Superpower.
Well, that's what I want to change for a superpower. If not, I want to like teleport, but like everyone wants to
Obviously, teleporting's the answer.
Teleport.
Teleporting is, I will die on the hill that teleporting is the most useful superpower you could ever have, because you can literally do anything with it, and who's gonna tell you no? Because you're just gonna fucking disappear.
See, that's the reason why she wants to teleport. I don't want to teleport because I don't want to pay for car insurance and gas and a car payment.
I don't have to then. I could do whatever I want. I could pop in and out. I could go wherever. I would love it. I would love it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, next book, I definitely feel like they're going to try to treat her not as bad as a prisoner, but I feel like she might try to break out, which is going to cause more of a strain. I have a feeling she's going to get locked up. I don't know why. I picture her in a cell for a little bit, and that's when I hope maybe she'll connect more with the hell part of it, but we'll see.
I don't know, well, because we know she doesn't love the mushrooms either. We know she doesn't like the lack of control, and I feel like they may drug her more than fully imprison her.
Yep.
I know I'm not happy about all the tension her and Bjorn are gonna have, because I like Bjorn, and I'm gonna be sad.
I mean, do I like triangles? Yeah, but I don't see anyone coming in to do a triangle. Like, that's the kind of tension I like. I like a love triangle tension. I don't like...
Also, if it comes out that the brother becomes the savior at any part of the next book, I'm throwing the book at the wall.
I'm gonna finish it, but I'm gonna scream. And I'm gonna text Hallie when I do it.
Yep. Oh yeah, no, we'll get to that part, and like, it will very much so be...
Rage.
Yeah.
Rage. And I can't go to your desk and rage about it. I will just have to text you and rage.
I was the one to come to your desk most of the time.
Of this one, yeah. You were definitely... This was one of the books that actually got us talking about doing a podcast, because we were talking about this book so much, and our engineer was
I feel like nobody's talking about this book.
No, I feel like a little bit, but not as much as they should.
It definitely has a following. Like, it's one of those, like, really big books because it is so pretty, but, like, nobody talks about the book. And do you remember how, like, unhinged I was being about, like, all of my fucking theories? Like, even before I finished this, I was like, I don't fucking trust that bitch, Yalva.
Yep.
I don't trust that bitch. I don't trust the songstress. Anybody who can literally put you into a nightmare with a song, fuck you.
Yeah, because she doesn't want to listen to her song at one point in time, but she forces her to. She's like, no,
Snorri
you need to hear it.
forces her to.
Yeah, and then she's just like, I'm traumatized.
But also, I think she was trying to hint at, hey, you're being lied to about who your godparent is. Because, like, the songstress was also kind of like a seer and could see prophecies and things, and, like, was in touch with the gods. So I feel like she knew, and she was trying to get Freya to relive that zombie attack to see that, like, they weren't attacking you.
I want Freya to get a friend in the next book.
She had one, and they killed them. Well, they killed both of her friends. She was friends with the healer, and she was friends with Boldy.
I know, but I just want her to have, like, a real friend that she gets to keep. Like,
she can't! Boldy. They all die! She's not allowed a friend, Alicia! They all die!
Are we allowed to say that?
Cancel me!
They're all unalived. I don't know. I really enjoyed this. I think this is a fun book. This is another, like, good book club book. If you guys have a book club or, like, a group that you're trying to read something different. I think it's a unique take on fantasy. Not a lot of fantasy novels out there. Like, I love Sarah J. Maas. And there's a lot of books with, like, dragons and things like that. Like, you don't get that type of mythology. So I thought that was different.
Sarah J. Maas does pull a little bit from Norse mythology. I mean, Midgard.
Yep.
But not completely. I do like that, though.
She's a little bit of a smaller author. I feel like she interacts well, too. Like, she's known, but she's not as prominent. But she has... What was the series?
She did the Bridge Kingdom series. That's a popular one.
I feel like that might have came up on my holds recently. Yeah, the Saga of the Unfated. And I don't know how many books this is actually intended to be. I could see it being about, like, 4 books, so at least.
Yeah.
Maybe not, like, a crazy, like, super, super long series like Harry Potter, but I could picture at least, like, 3-4 books for this.
Yeah. Same. I want them. Give me them all, please.
Yes, please. And I hope I don't have to wait forever, but I probably will. That's like one struggle of like reading a book when it's like first coming out and the series is coming out is you just have to wait. And don't get tattoos until a series is fully completed, or you might end up with a Tamlin tattoo.
Also, if you're going to get a Norse tattoo off this book, please do your research. Some have more than the meaning you intend. Yeah.
Well,
5-star read!
5-star read, for sure. It was, I think, like you said, my first 5-star read of the year. Yep. And I've been getting stingy with the 5 stars, so.
And I would stamp this on camera for you all, but it is already stamped somewhere.
I see where you're there.
Yeah. This is just a really nice book. Also, I love whoever did the sprayed edges on this book. You are probably the only company I like your sprayed edges because they didn't stick.
They were like foil, I think I've seen her say. Like
they are
like a metallic foil.
And like they don't stick, so you can actually read, because that's my biggest bitch with sprayed edge books. Yes. I can't flip pages, and then I skip pages, and then I'm sad because I spoil things for myself. But nope, library book has already been stamped.
Stamping! And I highly recommend checking out Etsy accounts. There's a lot of small businesses that create stamps. Hallie has that style stamp that actually has the ink loaded into it.
Yep.
I have one of the stamps that's like a little metal or a wooden one, and then you just like do it into an ink pad. They're like $20. So
book embossers are cool too. I just don't have grip strength. I have arthritis.
Don't you have a book embosser?
No, I have arthritis, so it doesn't work for me.
I really thought you had one of them.
No, I only have my stamp. I wanted to buy an embosser, and then I'm like, I don't think I can crank down good enough to do it.
I debated about getting one for book club, but we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll let it progress more. But yeah.
Thanks!
We'll see you guys next time.
Cheers!